the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Boo.
Oh, you got the kink?
It's running down, and it's in my shoulder, and it's going all the way into my fucking elbow. And
Ooh, the good stingers.
it's been very uncomfortable for a couple of weeks.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Right
now, it fucking hurts.
Like
it hurts.
So it's like really?
It's like a nerve.
Weeks?
Like
Yeah, you hit a.
Yeah, I haven't been able to.
Oh, you got like one of those sympathetic things. Like you had your quato removed over here, and now your left side's like.
Yeah.
We are missing, and we have void.
I had this one removed, this guy removed, and then.
Well, you're not wearing a bandage. Oh, it looks fine. You wouldn't know.
What?
Your nose.
Oh, yeah, it's got a little. There's a thing there.
I would not know.
It's getting better. It's just, I was wearing a Band-Aid on it, and it seemed like it just stalled, like healing, and.
Or like, I'm going to get you some air, baby.
Yeah, and I'm like, fuck it. I'll just.
It looks normal. I would not even know. You would not. I mean, from distance.
There's a divot there, like a little.
Oh, a scoop.
Yeah, a scoop. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, I'm fucking 50. No one gives a shit about me anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, go to the doctor. They're like, you're just gonna die soon anyway. Yeah.
I could give you some pills for a boner.
Yeah.
What about the cancer? No. You'll die.
Pretty much. I mean,
hey,
that's how it works. And then they'll fucking charge you, like insurance is.
Wazoo.
They'll be like, insurance doesn't cover whether or not we care about you and whether or not you're gonna die. So now we have to charge because that's not covered by your that chat that you had with your doctor about whether or not that thing is covered or whether we care.
Yeah.
Now we have to charge you because that's not covered by insurance. And so then you just get a bill for that. So then they charge you.
We had something.
Let's talk.
Before I get in. No, I
mean, insurance, man.
Yeah.
That is a game I do not enjoy playing.
Welcome to the Liberal Sad Pandas podcast, where we cover all of your socialist needs.
Well,
not really.
Well, I mean, if I was, go Kaiser. I would rather have Kaiser. I mean, Kaiser gets a bad rap.
Than Sutter.
Than what I have is Sutter with
Sutter Health?
United Healthcare.
Yeah.
And I fucking like everybody else in my house has Kaiser through my wife's work.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my insurance from my work. And I'm like thinking, maybe should I just have her put me on hers? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And just bite the bullet because, most of my insurance for myself through work is free, most of it.
Yeah.
I think I pay a little bit for it.
Mm-hmm.
But everything I go do, I end up getting billed some shit for. And it is ridiculous. And it's like, you don't even know who's going to bill you. Where's the bill coming from? Is it coming from these people, from the fucking insurance company? Is it coming from those folks? I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Where, and you know where they're coming. You just don't know where to look for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then someday you get like a mystery thing in the mail and you're like, oh shit, what's that for? And then you're like, oh, there's $150 thing. Oh, cool.
How'd you find me? Fuck you guys.
Fuck. Dude, it's brutal.
Some of the it just defies common sense to me.
Uh-huh.
I want to say the vasectomy.
Uh-huh.
Male vasectomy. If I want to...
Is there a female vasectomy?
Well, yeah, tubes tied.
Is that called a vasectomy?
No, it's a...
Okay. That's all I'm saying.
Tie their tubes? Tubal ligation? I can't remember. Anyway. I believe that's elective, and you pay for that entirely. I've had one. You've had one.
Well,
I can't remember.
I had Kaiser at the time.
I don't remember how that went.
I don't remember how that went. I was probably just a copay and a class.
Yeah. Venus struggles with terrible cramps at her stage of adulthood.
Yeah.
And she's talked, I think, at length about that hormones are no fun, and the cycle cramps and nausea and whatnot are like just short of debilitating for her. And we've like talked like, yeah, just get it all, get the hysterectomy, get it removed. And she's basically said, you can't. They won't,
unless there's like a medical reason to actually remove it.
Like there's nothing. It's not broke, and your discomfort.
Just have her start punching herself.
Yeah,
like a 20-minute regimen.
It's all bruised up in here. It's fucking hamburger anyway.
Yeah.
It has to go clearly.
Like 2 or 3 months of just every day for 20 minutes punching yourself.
Punch her in the cooch.
Yeah, and then be like, I don't know, doc, it just really hurts. And then they'll be like looking at you, and then like, oh shit, we need to remove these. And then you're like, yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
It's like, why? If the thing with my knee, when it was like, for me, it was like a preventative thing. Like something is clearly wrong here, but it's only 60% wrong.
Just the monitor.
Oh. But it's only 60% wrong, and therefore no action gets taken. It's like, well, I would like to be, I would like to remove at least 30%. I don't expect to be 100%, but why can't we move the sticks a little bit?
Right.
And it's just like, well, then you'd have to pay for it. Okay, fine. Tell me the dollar amount. Oh, you're so funny, young guy. No, I'm serious.
Oh, because you don't want to know how much it actually costs.
Right, and then I look like an idiot. Right, and then to that point, hey, welcome to Sad Dads Club Podcast.
Sad dads, for sure.
Episode, oh boy, 175?
4?
5, 6?
So we're in the 170s.
In middle 170s, maybe even just above.
We got Foo over there.
And Jim over here.
Yeah.
And it was, oh fuck, I totally lost where we're going.
How much is it?
Oh yeah, tell me.
Yeah.
Why can't I get, it's okay.
Well,
and then I look like an idiot for like asking, like, oh yeah, just everyone else just kind of gimps along with this kind of stuff. Like, no, I would like to be better.
I like had this thing that grew on my nose. It started out just looked like a pimple, right?
Right.
And I haven't talked about this on the show at all. And so it's like try and squeeze the pimple, right?
Right. Oh, it's
and like it kept getting bigger, and I'm like, damn, that's a big pimple. But it's weird because it didn't really hurt or anything like that. It didn't feel like a pimple.
Right.
And it would just, even though you would squeeze all the stuff out of there, it would just get bigger and bigger. And
it would never go away.
It got big and red, a big knot. I mean, I was starting to be able to see it on the end of my nose, and that's when I'm like starting to get concerned.
Right.
So I contact my doctor. Hey, I just need a referral to a dermatologist. Then that doctor's like, oh, well, just come on in. We'll look at it and see what we can do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the first step: make an appointment, get in to see somebody, pay $40, right, for your copay.
Right.
Then have them look at it. Oh, well, let's do some antibiotics in case it's just infected, because it looks like it's infected because obviously it's red, right? So it looks like it's infected.
Right.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
You have an irritation, sir.
Yeah. So a 7-day round of knock your dick in the dirt antibiotics, nothing changes. So I go, and she says, let me know, contact me through the app or whatever.
Yeah. Was this the dermatologist
no,
or your
this is
general practitioner?
This isn't even my regular doctor. This is just somebody at the office that had a sooner than my regular doctor appointment. It's really winking that monitor. I don't know why.
Maybe something's loose back there.
So I contact her. Hey, nothing's changed. You said the next step was going to be a referral.
Right.
Don't hear anything for almost a week. Right. Then I'm like, hey, haven't heard anything. What's going on?
By the way.
And then next thing I know, out of nowhere, I'm getting a call from a dermatology office. Okay. So I just call them and happen to get lucky to get an appointment like the next day. While I'm sitting in my appointment for the dermatology appointment, which is so $40 for the copay for the first doctor, then a round of antibiotics are paying for whatever I paid for that. Then another $40 for a copay for the dermatologist. And then while I'm sitting in that waiting room waiting to go in, to see the dermatologist, I get a call from my doctor's office like, hey, just so you know, we had sent you a referral to a dermatologist, but they didn't take your insurance, because I was just like, hey, it's got to be someone who takes my insurance. This is
Right.
I'm not going to be out of
Right.
pocket for out of network stuff. And then they're all, so we sent you to this other dermatologist, and that's who I'm sitting in the office waiting. So this is when they called me, was I was already in there. So isn't that dumb? So I'm just like laughing as I'm listening to the voicemail.
So do I have an appointment soon? Yeah, like 5 minutes ago, sir.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, well, it's a good fucking thing I'm here already.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, this is like, go see the dermatologist. They look at it. I have them look at something else. But it's like, I'm in there like 10 minutes tops. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they hack off this thing on my nose. They send it, they biopsy it,
Right.
because they're not sure if it's cancerous. And they send it off to a lab. I go home with a Band-Aid on my nose,
Right.
and some instructions on how to
And
take care of it.
And some sort of muscle relaxers and a sore butt.
And then fast forward a few weeks. So all of a sudden I'm getting messages. Hey, some shit's been going on in your insurance thing. And so I log in like dumb, like an idiot, because I don't know how this fucking works.
Right.
Because it's so goddamn complicated. But I log in there, and there is a bill from the dermatologist for $150. Then there's also a bill from the lab, which has been denied by my insurance company because it's, quote, out of network.
Oh, Jesus.
And that is $400.
Ooh.
And I'm like, how the fuck can that even be? Right? I have no control over who they send shit to.
Right.
Like the doctor, I mean, I don't know how, do I got to like hang around the office and be like, where are you sending that? What lab are you sending that to?
Right.
Do they take my insurance?
What patient is going to do that?
Nobody
We're
could
gonna
ever
send
do
it
that.
to a lab.
They'd be like, sir,
okay.
you need to leave your appointments over. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm already still paying off my appendectomy from last year, or a year and a half ago or so.
Yeah.
I'm still paying that. I think I owe like $600. And I'm just like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And so I like do a little chat on the insurance website, like, what? I'm a little upset. Like, why am I getting billed $400 for a lab that I have no control over where they send it to? And how would I know if it's out of network or not? I have done my due diligence. I made sure that I went to a doctor that took my insurance, and you're going to tell me that the lab is out of network?
Right.
Like, how would I know that? How could I possibly have any control over that whatsoever?
What'd they say?
Oh, well, that was we did that, and we're going to resubmit it and all this shit. And it's just like if you're not watching everything, like with a hawk eye, you're just going to get reamed.
This is all part of the problem.
Yeah.
It's like why we end up with all these lack of trust for healthcare in general, and why we it's a distrust of the system when it's clear in your situation. It's like, I have a thing. I need to probably see someone.
Yeah.
I would like to get a nice shot at a long life and see things happen.
Well, this is why people don't want to go to the doctor.
And this is right. It's like, well, I work 2 or 3 jobs already. The one step where you routed me to someone where I had coverage that still wasn't monetarily comfortable for me anyway.
Yeah.
I jumped through that hoop. I jumped through the other hoop. And then at the end, you're going to try and bilk me for another high bill amount for something that, 1, you didn't preface me to take control of.
Right.
2, you didn't protect me when the place I went to that you directed me to, you didn't make sure that happened. And so now I have to unwrangle a mess. Yeah. There's a reason why people are buying fucking dentist tools and bits and fucking shit off of Amazon.
Speaking of that, I have a full surgery center in my house now.
Yeah. Like, what?
Well, I learned the hard way because I had a primary doctor that I had for several years, right? And then, work is, they're always, my company is always working with their insurance broker to like get their costs down, and
Right.
you know. So
Yeah.
what ended up happening was the insurance changed, and there were 2 levels of insurance to renew into for that year. And I didn't really know. I just kept the same thing I had.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unbeknownst to me at the time, my doctor that I was going to was only in network if I went to the
The other plan.
which was the more expensive plan,
yeah,
which I
okay.
would have paid out of pocket slightly for. And I didn't know that. So I'm just going to the doctor. Next thing you know, I'm racking up $600 in like doctor visits because it's an out of network doctor. And I'm like, what the fuck? This was never a problem. And then go to find out, oh, they're not in my network anymore because the insurance has sort of like sidened them out. They're not in that network anymore.
Right.
So then I'm like paying that fucking shit off. And then it's like, okay, fine. Then I'm going to go get a new fucking doctor, you know?
Right.
Not to mention the fact that they couldn't bother to tell me like, oh, sir, your insurance doesn't take anymore. I would have been like, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wouldn't have gone to the doctor. I would have gone home and looked for a new doctor and made a new appointment
Right.
for somebody that was in network.
Yeah.
But instead, I'm just fucking
happy
out a bunch
to
of cash for
take your
fucking
money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for just no reason, you know.
And then there was that thing that Mike, I hadn't seen it, but I think you and Mike had about the COVID waste out there in San Mateo County.
Yeah.
I think the first article expose thing was $5 million in PPE, random hospital healthcare supply stuff.
Yeah.
And then the like fallout articles I didn't see, but Mike said it was like snowballing.
Yeah.
10 million, 20 million in stuff that got left outside.
So my
because
understanding of that situation was they had this center and all this
Right.
PPE went in the center to be stored.
Right.
But they needed to use the facility for something. So all of this stuff got moved out
Yep.
and just sat outside. And then after whatever event happened, they didn't bother to
Move
move
it
it back in.
Yeah.
It just sat outside and got rained on for months and months. and,
Went to shit.
and destroyed millions of dollars literally worth of PPE. So, I mean, that's part of the problem, you know. But, I mean,
Your bills are helping recoup those costs for the healthcare.
dude, it's just like incredible how not insurer friendly the insurance is.
Yeah.
It's not friendly towards you whatsoever. Like, oh, you went and had a thing cut off your nose that took 10 minutes. Well, here's, you know.
Yeah. What did that bill look like in the raw?
I think
I
want to say it was between $600 and $800. I don't remember off the top of my head. And my part was like 150 or something.
So did you see what your appendectomy was in the raw before outside of whatever your copay was?
Yeah, I think it was like 40 grand or something.
Like,
yeah. And I wasn't even 24 hours. I wasn't even 24 hours checked into the hospital for that.
What is going on?
Yeah. And then that was like suddenly you're getting billed out of nowhere.
That's how you get the Bugattis.
Here's a $5,000 bill.
You run a hospital.
Oh, fuck, I'm glad emergency rooms exist so I can get reamed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would consider decent insurance.
I'm sending you a bill for the good time I'm giving you at the golf course.
I mean, I don't really talk about this much, but I use a CPAP machine. I have terrible sleep apnea. It fucking wrecked me for a long time till we figured out what the problem was.
Yeah.
My insurance doesn't cover any of the cost of a sleep apnea machine. Zero.
Is it expensive?
They're $800.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they're bucks or more. Some of them are $1,000.
You probably don't want the knockoff $50 one.
No, I mean, they're expensive machines. They're very, very high tech and like all this kind of stuff. So, come to find out, Chandler also has sleep apnea.
Oh.
Right?
Wow.
He's in Kaiser Insurance. So he goes and does a sleep test and finds out he has sleep apnea. And then he's been going through like the sleep apnea class or whatever process that Kaiser uses.
Uh-huh.
And then today he's like, oh, I got my new machines coming. And I'm like, okay, how much is that going to cost you? He goes, I don't know. It's like 20 or 25%. And I'm like, so $200? And he goes, yeah, 150, $200 somewhere. I'm like, fuck.
Wow.
So that's a big difference.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, fuck, I should just jump ship and move over to Kaiser. I mean, it's just going to cost us more money out of our pocket to do that. But
yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Is there any benefit to you outside?
What do you mean?
Is there any, why? Why are you still planting that flag? Why not just go?
Because it's most of my I'm 95% or whatever of my insurance is paid for by the company.
Oh.
So it's like, it's just an additional cost that we really don't need to take on,
Yeah.
And I had Kaiser for years, for like 10 years, and I always thought it was pretty good.
How bizarre. Anyway.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So, we got, my daughter is going to graduate college soon.
Yeah.
And she goes, we've talked about this many times. She goes to Fullerton, CSU Fullerton. And so there's, we got COVID times and numbers are really high up and
SoCal.
Orange County,
yeah.
And Fullerton has planted their flag of we're doing in-person learning,
Yeah.
And so then and it was one of these things where it's like, my daughter has been doing at-home learning now for the college, what we call home U, for 2 years?
Yeah, pretty much 2 at this point.
And at first it was tough, but she really seems to like it now, especially she can be home. She has a job here in town that she really enjoys, blah, blah, blah. And, it's like the cases are way high. And so Fullerton's like, come back to class. And it's not like they're doing it. It's not that they're doing it at all, really. I mean, that's one thing. But I think maybe if they gave you some time, because you don't even have the summer period to work out housing and blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of been problematic, right?
Right. This decision has been made in between the fall and spring semester.
Right. So you have winter break to figure out where to move to, and then there's nowhere to live. People are freaking out because there's nowhere to go.
Right.
So my daughter, I don't know, through some program at the school, gets hooked up with this women's program where they find housing.
Oh, nice.
And the guy finds this woman who lives nearby to Fullerton, where they will rent a room out of their home, right?
Oh, okay.
So this lady is a retired lawyer.
Okay.
And
there you go.
Yeah, and she has this house to herself. Apparently, her husband passed away a year or so ago, and she's just kind of lonely. And she's someone who runs and does marathon stuff.
Oh,
but she just is looking for someone to live in the house and kind of companion-y kind of thing.
Right.
And so the rent is typically, I think at the top is $500 a month, right? Which shit for a room and bathroom usage and all that kind of stuff in a house, that's not bad. Especially if you're spending $1,000 to share a room in an apartment, right, with 3 other people.
Right.
So she had this was really cool. She had a meeting between the person who organizes it all and the lady that owns the house. And the lady seems to really like Melanie a lot. So she was like, the question came up of what do you want to charge for rent? So it's all out in the open, everyone's on this call.
Right.
And she goes, well, I mean, I don't really need any rent at all. But she goes, but to make it legal and official, I mean, $5 a month.
Oh man. Bless this woman's heart, dude.
Right. So that's pretty cool. And so couldn't ask for anything better.
Wow.
And she's only going to be there for 4 or 5 months tops, just through the end of this semester because she graduates. But
there's a gotcha, right?
No.
She's and also this leather onesie, you need to wear this. And you can only come in the back door, and I will be addressed as Miss Kitty.
I mean, so far, it seems pretty positive. I guess we're going to have to drive down there in the next week or two to like move her into this lady's house.
We're like, listen, Melanie, for $5 a month, you need to pick up after yourself and do all the dishes.
Well, that's one of the things is like apparently in lieu of cheap room and board, one of the requirements is they want you to do like at least 5 hours a week of like helping out.
Participate around the house.
Yeah. Yeah, fine. That's great.
Shit. Yeah.
And the lady's like, well, I hired a maid, so we'll have a maid. And she goes, I mean, if you just want to hang out with me, that's more than enough for me.
Wow.
I know. It's pretty incredible.
Melly's like, do you like Disneyland?
Yeah. I'm going to bring some Squishmallows. Is that okay?
Do you like stuffed animals?
Yeah. Can we get another room for my squish? Would be like $10 a month? All right.
Yeah. Can I put these in the garage?
Yeah. I mean, so I'm just,
wow.
Yeah. So isn't that cool?
Nailed it.
Yeah. So really, really awesome for her last semester of like having to move down there.
Data's like looking over the shoulder, like, hey, what about for me?
Yeah, what's he gonna do down there?
Nothing. But shit.
Yeah. But he was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then she's sending. I guess they're texting each other now, and the lady's sending pictures of her house, and like, it's almost like a small master bedroom, and it has its own ensuite bathroom ensuite kind of thing with a tub and a shower.
Wow, nailed it.
Oh yeah, it's like
best case, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Well, good for her. Does the college have mandates? Vaccine mandates?
I think so. I'm not sure.
You guys all have to be here now for in person, but here, in order to make that safe, you have to be vaccinated.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I would think, I don't know enough to make a statement either way, but I would think it's California State University, right?
Yeah, CSU. It's just like
think it's probably wrapped in there.
Yeah,
I don't know for certain. Oh my God, don't hang me, whoever's listening. I don't know 100%.
Canceled. You're canceled.
Yeah. Get out of here. Neil Young will no longer allow us to run his song.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure he's listening. So the other part of this is that Melly has this MacBook Air that she bought on her own, right?
Yeah.
Good for her. That's awesome. But she bought the cheap ones, which at the time had a paltry 128 gigs internal storage.
Wow.
And I thought, oh man.
Now we have phones with that.
That's exactly what I said.
The base model phones come with that amount of space.
That's exactly what I said. And like being a MacBook Air, I was like, that fucking storage is soldered on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, you screwed yourself when you bought that machine. It's not upgradable. Come to find out, it's upgradable.
Wow, really?
With an NVMe
really?
SSD, yeah. So I fucking ordered her a 1 terabyte SSD.
That's got to be like the last iteration of them being able to be the portables being modifiable.
Yeah,
because you can't with the MacBook Pros, right?
I don't not with the M1s. I don't think for sure.
Yeah, I don't, and I think ours are.
These are upgradable.
And mine's at the last. That's all you can throw in here anymore.
Well, one of the good resources, if you have a Mac and you're not sure if it's upgradable, go to Otherworld Computing. It's macsales.com. And they have a product like, I'm looking to upgrade my machine for storage or whatever. And then it'll go through and ask you, what kind of machine do you have? What configuration is it? And it will give you all the options as if you were going to buy all the stuff from them.
Mm-hmm.
Their prices are about twice as much as like if you were to order off Amazon. They've got videos that tell you how to do it.
Yeah, there's it sounds like a lot like the Newegg. There's like a thing you can do on Newegg, or I think I've seen Ted and Will use it. It's like a build your PC. I think Newegg does it. Like you could just throw a bunch of parts and build a PC, and then it has like a grocery list that you can then use with part numbers and whatnot to like kind of resource it. The easy thing would just be to probably quick buy it from Newegg, but it does like a shopping list that you could try and source from other vendors.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's that kind of resource, but for Macs. Like you could do it all here. It'll tell you what you can pull from here.
Yeah.
and buy from here.
Yeah, and I was like, well, what kind of storage will it take? Oh, cool. They got NVMe or NVN, whatever it is.
Right. LMNOP.
Yeah, HRABCD.
Right.
And
There's
then,
a Wordle involved there.
So I just went on Amazon and found like a Western Digital Black, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was $100. I was like, order that shit.
So how much space did you dump?
Well, it
Expand it to
a
128.
terabyte.
Oh, fuck yeah, done.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
For how much? A terabyte for how much?
$99.
Oh,
Right?
man.
I know.
Are you serious?
And the only thing was I had to order like a NVMe adapter so I could read and write so I can get her data onto the new thing before I install it. Get
and
the
that
system
was
$29.
So you're out the door for less than 140.
For $140. Yeah. And I'm like,
and you went
done.
from 128 to a terabyte.
Yeah, to a terabyte. And I'm like, this machine she bought because she was going to take it to college. And if we can limp that thing for a while,
yeah.
I mean, with a terabyte, it's going to be relevant for a while.
Yeah. Especially if she's fine with its processing power.
She's absolutely
she's just
happy
running out of space.
Yep. Well, it's constantly, that's the problem, is it's constantly like, no disk space, right?
Oh, yeah.
And she's like typing something in a browser, no disk space. And I'm like, fuck, I kind of figured this out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I got to get her up and running.
Yeah,
When does she leave?
I want to say it's like,
because we're almost into February.
it's early February. I think the 8th or something. We're going to have to drive down there soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be like, we're going to load up her car and probably take my car and then drive down and then drop her off, get her settled, and then drive home. It'll be one of those weekends.
We did an interesting, did you reach the end?
Of all of it?
I didn't want to go switch it.
Oh, yeah. No, I just thought that was cool.
That
I was
is
so
awesome.
excited.
Yeah. The upgrade.
Yeah.
I did an interesting thought exercise with the kids last night.
Okay.
So, and one was via FaceTime with Piper because she's dog sitting for a friend. The Mega Millions was just shy of 400 million or something. So I went out and, after I razzed you, I went out and bought a ticket.
I should have known.
And there, I got to remember, stick around. Remind me about Hamburger Helper. So I run out and I
Stop it, because now I'm singing the song. Yeah,
Hamburger helper,
hamburger
makes a great meal.
Yeah, stop it.
Yeah. So I ran out, grabbed a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
Venus, the last 2 nights, but not tonight, was staying the night over there with Venus, new house, all alone, whatnot, just to get her warmed and fuzzied up to speed. So it was just Xander and I for dinner. So I went out, got the lottery ticket, came back. I'm making dinner.
Fillets, I hope.
Oh, yeah.
For the 2 dudes.
We're like, yo, ribeyes?
Yeah.
And he's like, sure. What? Meat. It's chicken. Okay, it's the best chicken ever. Fuck off. It's like, oh, my God, son.
I'll bread it for you.
Yes. You want me to deep fry it in Cheeto dust? Oh, God, son. Yeah. So we're eating dinner, and I'm thinking about the lottery ticket, and I looked at him and I said, okay, so I have a question, Xander. I said, pretend you're old enough to play the lottery, and you purchase a winning sequence of numbers for $400 million. You've won $400 million.
Right. I mean, that's not what you're going to end up with, buddy. But
right. And I said, so it's you. It's not me.
Yeah.
You have won $400 million. I said, what is the thing that you go and buy? What do you go and buy? And he kind of thought about it for a second, and he's like,
a Hellcat.
Oh, yeah, right. If only. I love you, boy. He said, probably any of the games that I would want to play.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. And I went.
And then you still got $400 million.
Right. Yeah. $1,000 later.
You're good, buddy.
Yeah, you have all of the games.
You don't even want a new bed?
Steam now has your name emblazoned on it.
Maybe the fastest computer you could buy?
Well, yeah. And I said, interesting. Okay. And anything else? And he's like, no, I can't really think,
Really?
He really kind of just had a blank after that. And we talked about some other stuff. And I said,
can I buy shoes?
Yeah. He's like, I guess, yeah. I said, well, like a computer to run all the games, like a really nice rig. And he's like, oh, yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Just doesn't even care.
Yeah. And I'm like, what about like one of those zero gravity like gaming rigs that you kind of sit in and you're in in a crescent thing? He's like, yeah, but where would I put it? In
your new house, motherfucker.
And I'm like, and then so I prompted him for the rig.
You go close escrow and have it delivered straight away.
Yeah, damn. I said, so I kind of goosed him a little bit with the gaming rig.
Yeah.
And then I goosed him a little bit with like the gaming chair to see if he would run with it anywhere else. And then he kind of went, and then I would kind of just make sure that, other people that needed it would have money. And then I would probably guess I couldn't buy a car, but I would get a car when I was old enough to get one. And I went, but he didn't have an idea of what car, just a car. And I went,
does it have 4 wheels?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Does it turn? Okay. So then we were joking, like, what do you think Piper would say? Like, what would Piper? And Xander's like, clothes. And I went, well, fuck it. Well, hold on a second. So I FaceTime Piper.
Yeah.
And she's like, she was eating. I'm like, oh, we're eating too. So we're having a joke there. And she's like, I'm sorry if my battery dies, I only have 30%. I'm like, you're in someone else's house alone.
Plug it in.
Charge your fucking battery, daughter. But I said, so we're doing a thought thing. So I'm not going to tell you what Xander said, but here's the question.
Yeah.
You won the lotto jackpot of $400 million. You did. What is the thing?
She's like, I did?
Yeah. What is the thing that you go out and buy? Like you want right now? What is that? Yeah. And she kind of thought about it. She had a much longer pause than Xander. And I was like, ooh, so curious. Because technically she has a car.
I think there's a correct answer here. Regardless of what she said, the correct answer is whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah. And what her answer was a really good dinner, like a really expensive dinner.
Wow.
And I went,
get those kids out of the house.
What? Okay. And she talked about it. She's like, yeah, like McCooney's or something.
McCooney's. Not the French Laundry.
Yeah. And then we said Xander would, Xander wanted any game that he could want to play, he'd want to be able to buy. And
at the French Laundry.
Right. And then they talked about, random shit. But at no point did anyone say, any adult things. It was super interesting.
Right.
That even as Piper, being a young adult, almost 18, her flash, like lottery, rub the lamp, genie wish list was food.
That's
and
funny.
I went, oh, how curious
it wasn't
is that?
Things that she decided she needed.
It wasn't, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And then after we hung up and we had good jokes about, what all this stuff. And then Xander like started to expand. He's like, well, it would be cool to have like a room just to build like Gundams and stuff, like models. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, so like if Piper moved out, we could turn her room into a crafting room. And I'm like, I don't think you're thinking big enough, buddy.
We're all moving out.
You won $400 million. I'm like, I'm walking over to the neighbor's house and I'm going, how much do you want for your house? And if she says not enough money, I'm going to throw out $900,000.
Yeah.
And if she says no, I'm walking across the street and I'm going to knock on the door. I'm like, how much money for your home?
Yeah.
And if they say, I don't know, I'm going to say $980,000 within earshot of the douchebag other neighbor that wouldn't sell, just so she can be like, but you only offered me that. And I'm going to be like, fuck you, bitches. And then we're going to turn a whole house.
We're going to own the whole court.
And he's like, oh, yeah. And then we'll buy the other house, and that'll be like the gaming house. I'm like, why don't we just buy the entire court?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And each house Yeah.
Has
and,
its own thing.
and mom could have the upper floor for whatever. I'm like, your mom doesn't get a whole house? Like, what the fuck?
We all get our own house.
Yeah.
Okay, pal.
Yeah. Huh? Well, seriously? 400 million. He's like, we can take rooms in our existing house,
Don't you think?
but only after people move out.
Don't you think like there's a breakdown in the processing of about how much money that is? Like,
Surely.
you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like 400 million. Well, that's probably a house, maybe, and then I probably wouldn't have much left. How much is a house? 400 million, I guess. You know, no,
Yeah.
no. A house is like 500 grand. You know,
Yeah.
550.
He's like, well, what do you do?
400 million. You could buy 4,000 houses.
I'm like, son, I'm an adult. Like, the first things on my list are all bills. Like, I'm paying
Exactly.
everything, and then I assess.
Mhm.
Like, okay, and then I take care of family, and then
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
so I envy your youthful absent-mindedness. Steam gift
Well,
cards.
I mean, it's
like,
pretty
fuck, that's awesome.
It's pretty impressive that he, like, both of them kind of are in a mode where they're not even thinking like, I just want to spend money on some shit, some cool shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of impressive. Like, Chandler would not be, you know what I mean? Melanie would go buy Squishmallows or something. Chandler would be like, I need a new computer and I need this and a bigger TV and a blah, blah.
And
he'd
the
be,
entire Milwaukee tool line.
I want to go into Best Buy and say, yes, I want one of everything.
Yeah.
That's what he would do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Crazy conversations.
yeah, I know what I'd do if I had that money. Like you said, pay off the bills, put the house on the market. I'd fucking move to a bigger house in a quiet neighborhood that had a pool already, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe I want to build my own.
Yeah.
But to pay cash for that stuff, yes,
Bang.
done.
Game over.
Yeah. It doesn't even have to be a big house. Everyone's moving out, hopefully.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a big house.
Yeah.
2,500 square feet would be fine.
Everybody get the fuck out.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not. That's an interesting thing. Okay, so speaking of that, we've run across a situation. Chandler's dating a girlfriend.
Right.
And she moved out. She had previously moved out. And some stuff went sideways and she had to move back home.
Right.
So she's the
similar
same
to
age.
Date is.
Yeah, same thing. She's the same age as Chandler. They graduated high school at the same time. Her parents suddenly decided it's time for you to move out. Like, they have just put the foot down and said, you're done. And
Recently.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, like just in like the last week or so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's just kind of amazing to me. And I don't want to talk bad about them. I don't really have any feelings towards them, necessarily.
Right.
They've been great to Chandler. However, with this kind of conversation in mind,
Right.
he was kind of coming at Chandler like, well, I called a bunch of apartment complexes and gave them your name. And I'm like, wait a second, Chandler is not your kid. They're not married.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, Chandler may not be ready to move out. That's not his, you know what I mean?
So the parents
The dad
said to
told
Chandler.
Yeah, they were like having a conversation in the garage, and he was very firm about how she needs to move out. But they're having a conversation with also Chandler there too, and basically saying, well, I've called some apartment complexes, and how much is it going to cost for you guys to like move out? Like, can you afford it? And if you can't, tell me what you can afford and I'll pitch in the rest. And she's like, no, that's not going to be how this is going to happen. And Chandler's like, whoa, I'm not ready to move out.
Right.
I just thought that was a weird, and also like, I mean, Chandler doesn't want to be living at home. He wants to be out on his own.
Right.
He doesn't want to be at our house. He wants his own space and his own freedom. And
Right.
He knows what that's like. He did that.
Man in his castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, he's going to do it when he feels like he's ready and he has the right environment.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was really strange And like, I mean,
Yeah.
she doesn't want to be living at home necessarily either. She's got like 3 animals and they all live in her room, and it's not easy they're not really allowed to be free in the house. And so that's difficult.
The animals?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so, I mean, she wants to be on her own. She knows what it's like. She moved out too. But to like, I just can't see, for me personally, like we've talked about this like at times.
Yeah.
But like just being like, it's time to get out. You need to move out now. I mean, maybe if he was like 28, you know what I mean? It would be like, dude, it's time. But he doesn't want to be living at home. He wants to be on his own.
Yeah, that's a hard. I mean, it's easy to make conversation of because I don't know any of the context there.
Like as a parent, like you just want him to do. You want him to leave the house and succeed, and and not be in a position where he's destitute or gonna run into some
and that seems almost absent-minded of whatever financial goals that she and he, or even Chandler's goals, whatever they may be striving to in order to, like, whatever their goals are to have either an income watermark set that would make that affordable, or that they're saving up to, or they're there with that, whatever that watermark is, but they're just trying to get a couple other ducks in a row for whatever things. So perhaps they have their own timeline and maybe they're on it.
Yeah.
And this guy, other dad is pulling levers just because he's tired of the situation. It's like, so that's definitely awkward. Now, we've talked with Chandler. Like you said, even from my perspective, I know that he is shooting for independence.
Absolutely.
I couldn't tell you if that includes cohabitation with Nicole, but it would seem like that would probably be a natural progression. I enjoy her. She's a good person.
Yeah.
It seems like they get along well, so I would just figure that would happen.
Yeah.
But
I was kind of curious about your thoughts on this.
Yeah, he does seem to have a plan.
He's made the comment recently that he understands that like he has spent money on frivolous things recently, like guns and weapons and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, like ammo and pretty expensive stuff too. That stuff's not cheap.
Right.
And he was basically saying like, I get it. Like
he's self-aware.
I had a bunch of fun. I got it now. It's like he actually literally said like, now I need to work towards this goal. He goes, I have friends who have bought houses that are my age who own houses now. And I'm like, yeah, because that happens.
He sees the light.
Yeah.
Like he knows he's having to knuckle down some. And we've talked retirement things and whatnot.
Right.
I've seen it. So I know he's not loafing. And I think that's what's weird about, I mean, here would be my perspective on that.
That conversation.
My kids, and I would wager you're no different. They're always welcome to the home.
Yeah.
My dad treated me no different when I had little to no income and needed a place to stay.
Yeah.
And then in the place when I had no place to stay, I didn't tell him because I was too humble to just come home.
Right.
But the door was always open.
Yeah.
That is my perspective in my house, and my kids know that. When you're 18, that doesn't mean get a full-time job and get out. They know that as things ebb and flow through us talking to them about our life experience, that you may need to come back.
Yeah.
It might be because you got a bad dice roll. It might be because you need to reset and recalibrate and go a different way.
Yeah.
We're here for that. Now, if there was a scenario where it was that either kid was taking advantage, I think then things obviously have to change.
Yeah.
But no one, I couldn't do it. There's no way I could do that.
Yeah.
It'd be like, here's a hard deadline. Now, obviously, it sounds like he's trying to grease the wheels by saying he'll pony up whatever is the gap as far as like a rent. that's hard to look that in the mouth and turn it down, but
Yeah.
the stance does seem I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I could not do it.
Shannon and I have talked about it quite a bit, and we're kind of in the same boat where it's like, I mean, he wants to move. It's not like it's lost on him. He does want to go on and be on his own. That situation hasn't presented itself since he's been back, especially considering he like got laid off and didn't have any money and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, letting him be able to get back on his feet. He's got a decent paying job now. That kind of stuff. I think it's going to take the right set of circumstances for him to be able to move out or be motivated enough to like say, I can do this now. I mean, he's making, as far as I know, better money now than he was then.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's
just kind of like that would never be an option for me. Even as crowded as small and crowded as my house feels, like I don't think I could ever just be the asshole that says, "Get the fuck out."
Right.
It's we're done.
And to go along with that, though, I would have no problems in routinely having a conversation about what are your goals? Where are you going? What are your plans? Do you have a plan? How can I help you with that plan?
Right.
Laissez-faire and taking advantage of the goodwill of your parents is only gonna, at some point,
it's only gonna go so
right.
far, yeah.
And we're pretty bluntly open in my house. So it's, if you're not going to contribute, I mean, I've said on the podcast a number of times, on occasion, which seems like quarterly, oddly enough, I have to have these like, hey, I'm tired. I need help.
Yeah.
And most of you aren't.
Yeah.
And I'm out of gas.
Right.
So we have those talks. So the perspective that at some point at 23, 24 years of age, Piper just shacking up in a room and not really going anywhere, I would be like, here's the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I am incapable of kicking you to the curb. I am incapable of telling you, you need to leave and I'll help pay rent. What I really want you to do is learn the lesson that you have to put out effort and continually try. And so part of what you're explaining to me seems odd because I don't see Nicole or Data's those type of people that are like, I'm staying at home and it's cool and I don't have to, and I'm buying whatever's. I see both of those two young adults as being self-aware that they want to get to independence.
Yeah.
So to abruptly start planting flags of you need to move out. I mean, maybe he wants to have sex parties in his house.
From what I understand, he wants to walk around naked or in his underwear at a minimum.
Did you ever have a friend that did that?
No.
Had a parent that did that?
I don't think I did. I think Shan had a friend whose mom used to do that.
The homie friend that lived in a house where I peed all over the place.
Yeah.
On the outside.
You mean just not in the corner of the house?
Yeah, not in random corners of the house like Blair Witch. He enjoyed his walk around the house naked, and so it was like this funny thing. I loved him to death. He was the one that was the CEO of Pride.
Oh no, don't do that.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was a great guy. Left it.
I just don't want to see your ham and your sticking berries.
Newspaper.
Oh my god.
And then when we came out and had breakfast, newspaper over the lap. But he sat there and watched Sunday football, buck ass naked.
That would never happen in my house.
Yeah.
No, there's a line being crossed there.
There are lines.
Even if you had all boys, I just don't. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I mean, Chandler, when he lived on his own, he enjoyed having like the house to like oh, I got my desk set up with my computer rig and my, all my editing stuff.
Yeah.
And then like the garage with all the tools. Like he loved all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he's just chomping at the bit to be able to do that stuff again.
Yeah.
Especially now he's got compressor.
Well, let's do this. This was interesting too because we just covered this the other day. So, roughly at what age did your kids start openly cussing in front of you?
Chandler, Melanie doesn't.
Okay.
Melanie doesn't.
Okay.
Chandler started. He was. How do I put this? He was influenced heavily by other people.
Okay.
And when I say that, I mean like his friends in like junior high and stuff like that. I think for him, it probably started in like grade school, like late grade school or something.
So let me ask you this in order to tee this up a little bit.
Yeah.
As a young adult yourself,
yeah,
were you ever penalized or punished for being caught cussing by your parents?
I mean, no, because my parents, my mom especially, she used every fucking book there, or every word there was.
So you never wash your mouth out with soap, that kind of thing.
I mean, there were no. I mean, maybe if I was young, but
young.
As I got like high school time, like it didn't.
I said shit one time in a hallway with only of people of my peers in age.
Okay.
And I got tattled on.
Oh, damn.
And I got bar of soap.
Oh. Like what age was that?
Sub-teenager. So I would say probably between 10 and 13.
So like junior high time.
Yeah. So it was like bozo no.
Yeah.
Like you don't. And then even then, I stopped cussing in front of my sister because she's a fucking tattletale. Yeah. I said.
Now, how about now with your dad? Do you?
Yes. Now it's
it doesn't. You're an adult.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that, but there was still a little bit of a stigma there.
Yeah.
Where it was like you'd
say it and then be like,
even in my 20s. Even in my 20s, around my dad or relatives, I would self-censor to a degree.
Yeah, I did that a lot.
Shits and dams probably flowed more frequently than a fuck ever would. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for 170 episodes, I have a potty mouth. And when I'm just with homies, and it just happens to be being recorded, I'm dropping F-bombs all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
So in my house...
Oh, no.
In my house, I'm liberal. But, I also, when it warrants it, I'm overly verbose.
Right.
Like, I don't need to. I just choose to.
Right.
I am more than capable of expressing myself.
You know what they say, right? That when as a person who uses that kind of language, they tend to say that you're more intelligent.
I've read that and I agree 100%. They are fucking
Isn't
correct.
That fucking crazy?
I believe it 100%. So my upbringing, it was taboo for sure.
Yeah.
I had been busted for it for sure.
Yeah.
And I still to a degree it feels a little bit, but I am open. When my dad is here and we are talking about anything and everything, cars, politics, whatever.
Yeah.
The F-bombs fly, and we can throw down, Dad.
Yeah.
Is he with zero comfort?
Does he
100% comfort?
Does he partake in the?
Oh yeah.
So now it's like all bets are off.
That's not true.
He's more censored than you.
He's more censored, but I think that's just because he's too far entrenched at this point. He'll drop the fuck bombs and shits and dams and whatnot.
Yeah.
We were talking about cars, custom cars, and he was trying to think of Elvira, and he described her as big-breasted.
Okay.
Instead of huge tits.
Right. Okay.
Or massive boobs.
Right.
He said, big-breasted.
Oh, well, I mean,
so
that's-
that tells you
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
where my dad is
He's
at.
more of a gentleman.
Yes, I
Yeah.
would wager.
Yeah.
So Piper and more Piper, but she's also 17 going on 18, has started
Oh,
and with the shits and the bombs.
I mean, now I'm just gonna say, you know that if she has just started here,
Oh, yes.
that outside the house with her
it's
friends,
off the chain.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
And she like started getting like her foot in the door over since COVID.
Yeah.
Like when you're more around it, there was probably her casual speak with her friends outside. What had started to leak in, and there was, I can overhear a conversation where casual speak with her friends and whatnot. It's leaking, so I know she's saying it. So the shit started kind of relatively flowing, and it was like, cat's out of the bag, and I'm okay with it. But on occasion,
Yeah. Hey.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
not like,
Watch it.
whoa, enough. Yeah. But it's more of like a side eye, like,
Really?
okay, yeah. Can I get a little,
Just tone it.
little bit,
Yeah.
like, please, for daddy, like, but it's out there, and
Yeah.
so it's a thing. Xander, so
He's all, gosh
she
darn it.
hasn't been penalized. Now, if she was ever to drop a bomb in anger at any of us,
Oh.
the lever gets pulled.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
that's a no-no. Well,
Yeah,
I'm going to allow you a little bit of...
Here comes a smack from third grade.
Right. No. You don't understand how these words work. You're not old enough yet. I'm allowing you to... but you use it in anger.
She's only got a lifetime of hearing it.
Right. Yeah. You nip it in the bud. I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, Xander, because he has headphone voice, which I have. We talked about this the other day too. So even he's so used to a vocal decibel level when he's wearing cans that he's not necessarily aware of his vocal level when he's not wearing them. So he speaks loud. I do it on a telephone, and I got it from my dad. Like, if I were to pick up a phone for some unknown reason to me, my volume level goes up at least 10 decibels. No idea
That's
why.
hilarious.
Like, I have to yell into the phone for... So he has that.
It's so quiet you can hear a pin drop, though. That's the thing.
What?
The phone.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Remember that?
Yeah, the Sprint. Yeah.
Or AT&T or whatever.
Bing,
Yeah.
18, yeah. So he's in there gaming with somebody, and they were talking about some anime thing, and I heard him clear as day dropping fuck bombs.
Oh, really?
Yes, and but his door is shut,
Yeah.
and
And you were like,
yeah, oh yeah, I said, what? Oh shit, we're there. Are we there? All right, okay, here we go.
kid's not even in high school yet.
So what I did is I wrote down the sentence that he was using it in and the context on a index card, and then when
and he slipped into his door.
then we were out at dinner. We were making dinner. We're all sitting down, and Venus had come home, and I can't remember if I think we were all in the kitchen, and I had walked in with an index card, and I went, do you know what I learned today?
Oh, no.
And Venus goes, what? And I said, today I learned that fucking something is a bitch. And she went, what? And then I looked at Xander, and he went, well, he is.
Wow.
And she went, did he say that? And then everyone kind of looked at Xander, and I went, yeah. And I went, so here we kind of...
And he's like, he owned it.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, and it was the same thing with Piper, like, can you...
Piper's all, he really is a bitch.
But since then, now it's off the chain, right? So I can't remember. It was So today's Wednesday. It might have been Monday. And like passing when Venus was here for only a little bit. I think she sat down for dinner before she headed out to meet Piper. And Xander said something that had a fuck in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, okay, so I need to level set with you. Are you this comfortable using these words like at school? And he's like, no. And I went, okay. I said, you're not in trouble because this cart has left the station, the horse and the cart, it's done. So, but here's where I'm coming from. Mm-hmm. I said, my generation, this was not a no-no until I was a lot older than you. And your mom and I are comfortable with it. And Venus is kind of like, still like,
no, I'm
not really. I don't think so. Not with his fluidity. He's just straight up like, Piper will do kind of like how I do every once in a while. I don't give a fuck. Well, she'll kind of like trail it off. Or you get like what the fuck? You throw a punctual or something in there to kind of mask it out. Xander's like, that fuck.
Yeah.
So I said, here's the context we're coming at with parents. I said, you can't talk like that in a public place where those who don't understand or know about the comfortability we have here in the house. Mm-hmm. If you're going to talk like that with your friends over Discord, one-on-one, please just be aware. You have to be conscious of, and he is, and he admitted that,
I have only one thing to say. The only thing left to do is just get the kid a pack of cigarettes and make him smoke them all.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, sit down. We're smoking all these
Huff
cigarettes,
it down.
And you can say all the fucks you want
and
while you're
this
smoking.
is what they
it.
call an 8-ball.
That's right.
I'm going to do mine first, so I can't see what you're doing.
And let me know when that one's done because I got another one in the carton waiting.
Right, your mom can do 2 of these.
Yeah.
So only do half.
I totally understand this because Chandler has been the worst. The kid, what did he say earlier today? He said, "Are you shitting my dick right now?" And I'm just like, really? Like,
really? Yeah.
Of all of the things that he says, that is one of the things that I cannot stand to hear at any time. I don't
shitting my dick.
Shitting my dick. I just don't. That makes
it's unpleasant.
It really hits me in the wrong spot. As a parent.
Yeah.
But he is as crass as they come, and it's like you can't get that genie back in the bottle.
Yeah, you can't.
It's
yeah, and I've accepted it.
Yeah.
And like you said, though, even when Piper said something the other day, and we still kind of went, please, like, I'm not gonna get you in trouble. I'm not gonna, but just a little bit down, a little, just from 11 to like a 7.5, maybe.
Yeah, Chandler's at like a 13 or a 14. He just doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit. He uses everything all the time, and it's like every other word is the F-bomb or shit or whatever. That's just, and it's like
and it's hard for me to like, because if you've listened to this, I am fluent in the fuckery bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the other thing that I don't enjoy is when he's like having a conversation with my wife and he'll give her shit about something. He's all, "What the fuck are you doing, bitch?" And
okay, like, see that.
Oh God, that one. I don't like shitting my dick, and I don't like it when I hear the word bitch being used when it's
directed at
my wife,
the matriarch,
or my daughter, even for that matter.
Yeah,
that rubs me the wrong way for sure. And I can't.
There's
nothing I can do. Maybe I could kick him out of the house.
Right. It's time for you to
go
move
full
out.
circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're at time on that too.
You're all done, pal.
Listen, you call your sister a bitch one more time.
You call your mom a bitch, and you're gonna be feeling the back of my fucking bitchy hand.
Well, you're gonna get shitty dicked.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I'm gonna get Max to shit on your dick. Why?
Now,
what?
Do your dogs ever eat their own poo? And maybe we can visit this next week.
No.
Oh.
Oh, I mean, not their own, but
Each other's?
yeah,
Oh.
Armageddon would go out and snack
Oh,
on
why?
Boxer
No.
Roca.
No, don't. No, don't.
Yeah.
We can talk about that next week.
Yeah, well, okay.
Coming up next week,
Yeah.
dogs eating their own
More
shit.
socialism and healthcare. Brought to you in part by snowflakes.
And the Vietnam War.
It's Jane Fonda's fault.
God, for sure.
In the meantime, please be sure to return the cart.
Wash your hands.
Wash your ass.
Get the shot.
Get the booster.
Check your oil, Tony.
And do the kindness. And we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.